Wagwan everybody, Lennox here from S123 Trader. This is the weekly playbook outlook for the week of August 7th to 12th. However, this is the 8th, Monday, the 8th. I was not able to create a video yesterday, so I'm just doing it starting on Monday. Taking a look at the US dollar. Overall, I'm on the monthly time frame. I'm taking a look at the overall picture of the US dollar. Just a quick overview of what I'm seeing. We're inside of a structure on the monthly, kind of like a triangle or a flat. You can see we have triangles and price is currently at a very strong area of previous support resistance right across the board. So we're getting into that area. So we could see some faltering of the US dollar in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or thereabouts. That's the overall big picture of what I'm seeing. Look, coming down to the time frame we're on the weekly. The weekly bar has already formed. We have a pin bar from last week and giving way now to move to the upside. So overall, we're seeing some strength in the US dollar continuing. So it looks like we're going to be challenging these highs again, perhaps before I wouldn't say before this week is out, but before too long. Okay, so looking pretty strong here for the US dollar. So on the daily time frame, let's take a look. Okay, and on the daily, it's given a little different picture. We've had quite a pullback, but now it's looking to set up for a break. If we get a break of this high here at this point, we can see price pushing up into the rest of the week. So a little bit of strength setting up for the US dollar, it looks like, favorably. And again, at this point here, we had this is the previous support resistance area right across, and price has hit there and bounced, forming a 1, 2, 3, and we're pushing to the upside. So looking at continued strength for the US dollar going into this week. All right, taking a look at the Aussie dollar. I'm going to go to the weekly. It has been inside of a channel going to the downside here. So we're inside this channel, hit the bottom of this channel at previous resistance and support, and bouncing. So a little bit of strength for the Aussie at this point. Going down to the daily time frame, we're pushing with a little bit of strength. Now, at this point, it's quite interesting. We could be setting up for a move back down. So be careful. Unless we break that high, prices might turn to the downside here on the Aussie dollar futures. Okay, so be careful about going long at this point, okay, because of that. Taking a look at Bitcoin. I'm going to go to the weekly. So Bitcoin still sitting at again a very not a very good line, a very crucial point here, and looking like this bounce looks favorable to the upside, but however, I think it's going to be we're going to have another drop. But in the short term, let's see on the daily, now we can see what's going on. We're inside of a sideways channel, and we're pushing to the upside with a little bit of strength. Now, I don't think, however, that is going to be long lasting, and we're going to be heading back to the downside with Bitcoin. So, interestingly enough, these moves here, we've had higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And we'll see if we get another higher high. If we do not break a higher high here, I think all bets are off. Okay, so let's see how that plays out. Taking a look at crude oil on the weekly. So crude oil, after quite the run, has fallen a little bit. Whoops, let me just do that over. Push this back over. crude oil has fallen quite a bit. We're coming to this support resistance, previous support resistance. So we could be at this ready to turn back to the upside at this point. Let me drop to the daily and take a look. And yeah, it's totally possible that we've hit bottom at this point, and are looking to go back to the upside here. So that's what's happening. So maybe a little bit more strength in oil as we go into this week. Okay, so that's what it seems to be setting up at this point on the chart. A quick look at the DAX. It too pushing to the upside. I'm going to go to the weekly and maybe just go a little further out. Okay, so this looks like a complete retrace of this move. So the retrace of this move back down looks like about a little close to 79% retrace, and bouncing. So opportunity to buy into Bitcoin as it starts to move to the upside. Looks like it's a pretty strong move here we've got, and I would look for continued movements in DAX going into this week. Taking a look at, we looked at the US dollar. Let's take a look at the euro. So the euro, with US dollar strength, we would see continued weakness. You can see this weakness in the euro. Euro is still having a little bit of problem. Let's go to the monthly just so I can see what's going on. So we've broken through. You can see the overall structure here on this chart, and we have broken through a level of support here, and just heading straight down. So a lot of weakness in the euro, and I would look for continued weakness. Okay, so the key here, just to show, is we've had support resistance areas, breaks, support resistance areas, breaks, support resistance areas, and breaks again, support resistance areas, looking for a breach to the downside again, same kind of thing. Okay, so it's been just doing the same thing over and over and over, so I would expect that to continue. Doesn't look like a turnaround point, so more weakness in the euro going forward. Okay, and taking a look at the Swiss franc on the weekly. Swiss franc is tied up in a very strong up and down type affair. We've hit support area as well. So I'd be looking for, in the short term, go to the daily, take a look. Okay, you can clearly see now that indeed we are inside this strong trench, up and down in it. And I would be looking for maybe a short-lived move to the upside, but after that we're coming back down. So a lot of weakness setting up for the Swiss franc. Okay, let's take a look at gold. And gold on the weekly. Okay, it too reached a very strong support resistance area here, and is bouncing. And you can see our structure is intact. We've hit this area. Could be a short-lived move to the upside. We could get another move back down, but in the short term here, a lot of strength in gold to the upside. So you got to go with what it's doing. It's showing lots of strength at this point, so we go with the strength. Okay, so we could still get another push back up into this area before we see a turnaround, but strength in the gold going into this week as well. Japanese yen on the weekly. Okay, and lots of weakness there. Let's go to the monthly. Yes, lot of weakness overall. You can see we've had this kind of structure and broken through to the downside, similar to what I just showed you on the euro. We get these sideways movements, then we drop through. So lots of weakness in the Japanese yen at this point. Are we at the bottom? Doesn't look like it is. I would look for continued weakness in the Japanese yen going into this week. Okay. New Zealand dollar would be similar to the Aussie, and again, sitting at a very interesting point here where we've broken through some support resistance back into this area. So we could be getting a little bit of a bounce, but it looks a rather weak overall from this drop. And yeah, it's a bit dicey here, but we could see further drop in the New Zealand dollar overall. Okay, so it's had a strong push, but right now setting up for maybe a turnaround at this point. Okay, so that's the New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq has had quite a push. This is on the daily. We've pushed back up into this support resistance area. Lots of strength, and now looking like we're ready to come back down. Okay, so this is on the daily, looking like some weakness is setting up. Here is the British pound. British pound also looking rather weak, and I would be looking for further drop in the British pound at this point as well. Taking a look at the Russell 2000. There we go. It too has reached that level where we might be done on this move to the upside. So again, a very strong push off the bottom, and we could again be seeing the end of this move. It doesn't look like it's ready at this point. I'm just going to go in a little tighter. We'll go down to the 4-hour just to take a closer look. Okay, still looks like there's a little bit of one more push perhaps going on here. I'm just going to go back to the NASDAQ just on the 4-hour. So NASDAQ looks like it's almost done at this point. Could have one more push as well, but looking really like it's basically done. But the Russell 2000 looks like it still has one more push. Let's see how the Dow looks. Dow on the 4-hour. Dow also looks like it could have one more push, interestingly. Okay, so these two out of three so far. Let's see how the S&P 500 looks. S&P 500, bit. You can see we're right at this very critical point right here, and we could see a further push to the upside one more time. That's totally possible before this week is out. So we'll see how that sets up. Let's take a look at the U.S. Technology Group. It too did hit a high, as you can see. It hit the high here, but it's pulled back. Will we get another push back up, or are we coming down? It's very interesting. We'll see how this plays out before the week is out. All right, so that's a quick look at what's setting up for the remainder of the week. Profitable trading to everyone. We're done now. Thank you.